What's up, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the A5 Podcast. Again, thank you so much for tuning every single week. We love you guys. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Renee, what are we talking about today?
So today we're going to go ahead and dive into, shout out Pastor Matt. He preached a powerful message on the power of a day, which really the root of that message was surrender, right? Surrendering to the Lord, one act of obedience, one honest prayer can really change the trajectory of your life and of your course, your destiny, right? Whatever God has for you. And, we thought that it was such a powerful message. We're like, you know what? We haven't really spoken, I think, about surrender that much on here. And we know that's something that men struggle with. Right. And our heart is always for men, young men that, we want to disciple virtually. There's men that we disciple in real life at church. So we pray that this, sharpens you and that it makes you better as a man. So we can go ahead and get right into it. One thing that I loved that Pastor Matt brought up was the honest prayer thing. I love that he was like, we all need to pray one honest prayer. Mm-hmm. And the honest prayer, I think the example he gave was, like this is what I'm going through. Not surface level prayers like, oh Lord, thank you for another day. God, provide for me on this day. No, like an honest prayer would be like, I'm broke. Okay, I don't have money. I don't have a job, or I hate my job. Lord, help me to find a job. I hate it here. I don't want to be like, those are honest prayers. They're getting real and vulnerable with the Lord. So I don't know if you guys want to share on that.
Javi gave, and shout out to Javi.
Shout out Javi.
I still want him back on the pod because I wasn't here that
we'll
episode
get Javi part 2.
I definitely need to have him here while I'm here. But it was just, it's a pleasure always being able to sit in Sozo, and I'm here in Miami for like 24 hours. And so casually, whenever there's something going on Saturday, I try to sneak in. So it was awesome to hear from Pastor Matt. But Javi was sharing his testimony too. Yeah. And he was saying that there was a moment in his life with his story, and he shared this before, so it's public knowledge, but he had issues with alcohol and substance abuse. And there were moments where Javi's honest prayer was, Lord, or God, I don't even know if you exist, but if you do, you need to do something because I'm going to kill myself.
Correct.
Like, whether the substance abuse is going to kill me, or I'm just going to kill myself because I don't even want to be here. I think he said something along those lines.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's an honest prayer.
Yeah.
That's an honest prayer.
Yeah.
And I think we need to make honest prayers great again. Like, we need to be able to say, and I always say this to my students in the youth ministry back in Tampa, that I sometimes ask, like, who here is a Christian? And everybody's like, and I'm like, it's okay. There might be some of you who are not Christian. Maybe you believe in God or you don't know, and that's okay. Like, you need to be able to say, God, I don't know if you're real, but if you are, I need you to come through this week. I need you to give me a sign, a word of confirmation. I need you to do something because I don't even know if you're real.
Right.
That's an honest prayer that I think we need to be honest about. We need to be able to say that it's okay to pray those things. God's big enough for your emotions. God's big enough for your little, what's the word? Tantrums?
Your tantrums. Yeah.
So, I think that was the biggest thing, just for me at least. And I think, especially for newer believers or people who are like trying to develop a relationship with the Lord, people who are not religious, they're like, I can't pray because I don't have the words. I don't know the thous, the these, thine is the kingdom, whatever. And that's King James version, That's you don't need to pray like that.
Right.
Pray. When I pray, I talk to the Lord in Spanish, and I talk to them in Puerto Rican Spanish. Like, Señor, en verdad, hoy estoy. You know what I mean? It'll be.
But that's true, though, man. Real. But those are real prayers, man. Dude, I can't tell you the amount of times that I go, and I pray to the Lord, and I'm like, God, today sucked, dude. Today sucked. I'm pissed. I don't, whatever. If me and my wife had an argument, I'll be like, God, she's pissing me off, man. I need you to change her. And then obviously the Holy Spirit's like, how about you change first?
And it's interesting that you mentioned that. It's interesting that you mentioned that because earlier you were saying, God, I hate my job. Yeah. Please give me another job or something. And that's okay. I think that's an honest prayer, but I think it's an incomplete prayer.
Yeah.
Because I think the more I would recommend, my humble opinion is, the prayer should be, Lord, I hate my job. Either give me a new job or give me the joy, give me purpose in this job, give me something else. Because oftentimes we say, Lord, my wife is crazy, right? Using your example, my wife is crazy, you got to change her. And the Lord is like, no, I actually need to change you. There's something in you that I need to work through. Right.
Something that Javi always says, and I was like, it makes sense. It's like, I am the problem.
Yeah.
That humility, man.
Yeah. So no matter what's going on, but I am the problem. He will always self-reflect from his aspect of how can I do this?
Yeah.
Or like, what's my part in this?
Right.
But yeah, no, so much good stuff was shared today. For me, one of the biggest things that stood out with the surrendering and it's just surrendering when Pastor Matt was speaking about time.
Yeah.
Like Kairos versus Chronos.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like, men in general are always just focused on the time, the nows, by the time I'm this age, I want to have this kind of success in my life. And it's like, no, man, like that's going to work itself out while you're doing your part, but on God's timing, and you're talking about the creator of time.
Right.
So it was just huge, good points today.
Yeah. Renee, can you go to the Bible Gateway real quick and pull up Matthew 6 and then scroll all the way to the bottom? I know the verse, but I want to say verbatim because I always like mess it up a little bit. But I think it's Matthew 6. It's either 33 or 34 or something along those lines. Scroll all the way to the bottom. It's the last one, 34. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own.
Yeah.
Like that thing right there that's essentially what Pastor Matt was talking about today. And powerful verse. But it's so hard to apply it. And I'm talking from experience. Like, I'm a planner. I like to know everything. I'm organized. Like, I'm the one who, my wife and I we're going to Europe now for vacation in the end of August. And I'm like planning every little thing. Like, I got a whole agenda with the flight number, the time, the hotel, the confirmation code, this, and this and that. I'm a planner. And she's like, la di da da. Like she just knows she's getting on a plane. She doesn't even know when, where to where. She's like, oh, we going to Italy, cool. Like my wife is, and I'm like, good for you, right? I'm the planner.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating at times because God made me this way.
Yeah.
God gave me these skills for I think it's good for like corporate, for ministry. It's good to be planned.
Sure. Yeah.
But then sometimes I'm like, God, what's the vision? What's the plan for 5 years from now, 2 years from now, 1 year from now? And God's like, don't worry about tomorrow. Worry about today.
Yeah. And it was Pastor Cal, right? Shout out Pastor Cal. He mentioned that, we give he brought up the same verse. He was like, man, I don't have to worry about tomorrow.
Yeah.
I got to focus on the today. And when you give so much power to the future, you forget to be present. Mm-hmm. Especially I think as
when you give so much power to the future, you forget to be present. That's good. Sorry, bro. I didn't mean to lose your train of thought. I just wanted to emphasize that.
You're good. You're good. No. I still have it. So, because I was thinking about like you and me, like we're husbands, right? If all we do is worry about
with wives.
It's June, so it's Pride Month. Anyways, because people don't know that already, right? That we have just wives. Sure. Oh my gosh. Anyways, we're husbands with wives. And what I was
multiple wives?
No, with a wife. So anyways, what I was going to say is that if we give so much power to the future, I feel like I can't be present with my wife if all I do is worry about tomorrow, right? And it's easy, especially in the season of life that I'm in now. It's been convicting, after Pastor Cal said that and after the message, that, man, I worry way too much about what's going to happen tomorrow.
Oh, same.
Especially, like, to give context, me and my wife, we are brand new homeowners. We've owned a home for the last, 6-7 months. And it is nowhere near, in the amount of time that we've had it, it is nowhere near where we would like for it to be, right? Like, our renovations are still, at the square one. And honestly, we just don't have a lot of time to dedicate to the house, right? Like Monday through Friday, we're in church multiple times. We both have full-time jobs. You know, we have to spend time together, right? Like we go out on date nights. We make that intentional. We spend time together. And sometimes, man, we're just exhausted. So even if we do have free time, we're like, no, dude, we got to go to bed. You know, we're trying to spend time with the Lord. So it's a lot. So anyways, so all that, right? Like all that stuff that I have, I worry so much about. I start freaking out about like, man, dude, you know, tomorrow I gotta try to, you know, paint. I gotta try and build this, you know, furniture that we have. It's been in the box for the last like 3 weeks. You know, tomorrow I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it tomorrow. And then I catch myself and I'm like, tomorrow. And I'm like, dude, but okay, forget about tomorrow. Stop being anxious about what you can do tomorrow. And just be grateful for today, man. Be grateful that, man, I have a house.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, that I can come home to. I have a wife that I can come home
Absolutely.
to. I should be just grateful for the fact that, okay, yeah, things aren't getting done how I want them to, but the house isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know? And
That's good.
But time with my wife is going away somewhere, you know? Or time when I have kids, it's like time with them is going to go somewhere else, you know? It's like, so it's like, I can't worry too much about whatever's going to happen tomorrow or the house is going to get done. Honestly, I think of it in King Solomon, how he put in Ecclesiastes, like, bro, at the end of the day, all of this is meaningless. Right? All this toil, all this worrying, it's meaningless.
This too shall pass.
All of this shall pass. So all of this is meaningless. Doesn't mean be careless.
Yeah.
Right? Don't hear what we're not saying. The shadow of that, of having that thought is like, oh yeah, be lazy. No. Be, you know, Solomon also mentioned, no, you know, get to work. Do your work. Obey the Lord. Do what you got to do. But just don't get so caught up in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. Solomon says it in Ecclesiastes that there's a time for everything. There's a time for peace, time for war, time to rejoice, time to mourn. There's a time for everything, right?
Yeah.
In that same verse, before you change it, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's like, does it say somewhere around like you can't add like another second or?
Yeah, I think it's around the.
Sorry,
you're good. But
6. It should be around the one with 25 or something like that. Oh, 27. There it is. Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life?
Exactly. So it's like, I'm not saying, you know, troubles are going to come. We all know that. Jesus himself said it. But worrying so much about it, it's pointless. You can't, you know, you're stressing yourself out for nothing that you can't control. That's already surrendered to Jesus' hands.
Exactly.
Where I was going to go with that, to your point, Renee, was, yeah, like I think when you're in that season of the whole house, for example, our current studio is in my house, right?
Right.
So
shout out Richie.
Thank you very much. But it's always this like, Lord, I know this house, this studio, what we're doing is not by our hands alone.
Yeah.
Your hand is on it, and the second it's off, we're not going to do it anymore. That's the truth. Like the second that God says, hey, no more, we're going to obey it.
Yeah. I'll fight it, but yeah.
Right. We could tussle, but you know, but at the end we know who has the final say.
Right.
So I just think it's just trusting and having that relationship with the Lord to at least like, I hear you, God. Yeah. I might not like it, but I hear you and I will obey.
And this is a perfect segue into the other part that Pastor Matt had in his message, which is about obedience, right? And there's something here that I looked up through Pastor Chat GPT. That deliverance is often only a day away. If you truly believe that one surrendered day could change everything, what would you do differently today? Is there a habit, relationship, or mindset that needs a surrendered moment? And surrender is perfectly and unequivocally anchored to obedience. Right?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to Jesus, right? Like whatever, like, dude, picking up your cross daily is obedience. Surrender is picking up your cross, crucifying your flesh, all of that stuff. It's tied together. And that to me, I shared it in the small group that I feel like, I think it's true. Like men are more naturally prideful than women, right? Like because we're men and we're macho and, we need to be in control. And one of the guys in the group, he shared that, one of the things that he needs to surrender in this season is control. Because I like to be in control of everything and I have to trust God. And if you knew that on the other side of your obedience, you knew what the blessing was, how differently would you act?
100%.
Mic drop.
Right?
Something to like on that point back, but also referring to you being the whole planner and all. I always like to say this: the best plan that I can think of, perfect in my mind from A to Z, will always fall short next to God's plan.
Yeah,
100%, dude.
So. Yeah, there's the other verse. It's in Proverbs.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said it. I think it was Proverbs 19:21. Shout out to the gentleman that said it.
Shout out Joan.
Scroll down. Yep, there it is. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but the camera's blocking that from
But it is the Lord's purpose that prevails.
But it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Enough said. I mean, we can have plans. We can make plans all we want. We can have a million plans, but it's the Lord's purpose that's going to prevail. So oftentimes I pray, Lord, align my will with your will. Align my plans with your will, with your purpose for my life. Because otherwise you're wasting time by planning all this stuff. And then, if you're in the world and you're not walking with the Lord, then whatever. But if you're a Christian, you believe in the Lord and you're asking God for guidance, you're trying to walk according to God's will, pray that prayer. That my humble encouragement would just be that pray align your will with his will, align your plans with his purpose. Otherwise it's futile, it's useless. It's almost like, why are you making so many plans? The Lord is going to be like, psych. That's what happened to me and Kim in 2023. We got a beautiful brand new apartment, Coral Gables. We're living the dream apartment. 3 months. Hey, I'm glad you like the apartment. You're going to Tampa. What? 3 months? That was our plan. Our plan was to live there in that apartment. God's purpose was something else. And God's funny.
Definitely has a sense of humor.
Literally, dude. I mean, and I was thinking about this verse right now, right? Where Proverbs 16:9, in their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. That's another thing that we talked about, was how sometimes you just need to make the move, right? Sometimes that's why it's like, when you hear 19:21, right? Proverbs 19:21, where it's like, you can make all the plans you want, but at the end of the day, his will is what prevails. It doesn't mean don't plan, right?
Yeah, for
Tim
sure.
Ross always says, it's like, no, plan. You should plan. Because it's like, for example, if we didn't plan anything for this podcast, then nothing would get done. You get what I'm saying? So you 100% should plan. But there's been times where we plan to record 4 or 5 episodes and we only end up recording 1, because God takes over.
Yeah.
Right. And the first conversation was so good that we just don't stop and we just keep talking.
Yeah.
And then, we're short on time and it is what it is. And we just got to get back together at a later date.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Hold your thought. But it's crazy that you mentioned that, because we are on camera. We are the same on camera and off camera. And this whole discipleship business that we're about, that's the heart of the podcast, to eventually get to that level where we're discipling people live on air. But I remember one day early on, when we started the podcast, that I had driven down from Tampa and I was here for like a day, as I usually am. But something had happened. I don't remember what it was. It was a long time ago. It had to be early on when we started the podcast, but something was happening internally with some of us or whatever. And we literally didn't record that day. We were planning to record,
right?
But our brother's life or whatever he was going through in that time was more important than getting some content out.
Right. Correct.
Right. So just a little example of that. Sometimes we can plan things, but life happens. And at the end of the day, we care more we care more about your soul than what you can provide on camera or whatever. So
dude, I didn't plan to be owning a home right now.
That's wild.
I did not. Neither did my wife. Our idea was, we'll move out at some point, because we were living at the house that we're living at now. We were living there with my family. My family moved out. But, we were planning on, we'll get an apartment somewhere, whatever, yada, yada, live on our own. And then in a few years down, probably when we have kids, we'll buy a house. But God said, no, you need the house now, you know? So I'm still trying to figure out why, but you know, it's more trouble than it's worth at the current moment.
Yeah, once FIU comes knocking on the door.
Yeah, 1.5 mil clean. Hear it here. All right, I got video proof.
Yeah, same for me in the sense of this house. It's like, I thought I was going to be married, and my life was going to be kind of like the cookie cut structure of like, you know, how you would assume it would go.
Yeah,
I was like, but no, the Lord has said, I'm going to bless you with a house now before the marriage, and you're going to have a podcast, and your boys are all going to meet up there and, you know, do my work there. I'm like, say less, God.
That's why this is like, man, like honestly with this podcast, sometimes we sacrifice so much, right? That people don't see on and off camera. And I'm like, Lord, you really got to be doing something through this. Because even the fact that we got a studio, dude, I remember you had just moved into this house when we started this, right? Like,
yeah.
And we were over there in the other room, and God has just really made it evident. I mean, that He's doing something.
Yeah.
Right.
And at times where we're like, is this it? Like, should we just call it a day? It was good while it lasted, but God always provides something. God always gives us a fresh revelation, a breath of fresh air, an encouragement or something to keep us pushing. But I wanted to touch on something you said earlier, the whole with the whole honest prayers and whatnot. And I think that sometimes we're living today in today is the result or the fruit of our past prayers. Mm-hmm. So you talking about the house, I remember when I was doing your guys' loan, right, getting pre-approved and whatnot, and you guys were praying about the house.
Yeah.
And you get the house, and then all these things happen, and I find myself even often convicted because I'm like, Lord, forgive me for the times that I've complained about something that I was praying for before. Lord, get me this. I want this. I want a wife. I want to marry Kim. Yeah. Now I'm complaining because she's fighting or complaining.
Right.
We tend to do that as humans, right? Like we complain about the things that we prayed for.
Yeah. I think it's so funny that you mentioned that because I was thinking about this because P-Matt had mentioned this. He said it in passing. But there's shadows to blessings. There's a shadow to the blessing, right? Like there's a dark side to every blessing that God gives you. There's a dark side to it, right? And it doesn't mean that it's evil. It doesn't mean that, you know, I'm not talking about, you know, Darth Vader's not going to come out and choke you or something.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is that you want a wife? I mess with Richard all the time, right? I mess with Richie all the time. I'm like, you know, I'll be like, I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but that's fine. I'll deal with it later. But, you know, whenever me and my wife, we have our disagreements, you know, sometimes Richie has been there for a few of them. And you know, when she walks away, I look at Richie, I'm like, you want to get married? Mira, this is what you're going to get yourself into. The disagreements, the discussions, whatever, you're arguing. And man, but you're so right, bro. Like, we pray for our wives. We pray like, Lord, I want to be married. I don't want to be single, yada, yada, this, that, and the third. But then, finally, when you get her, it's like, okay, now you got to deal with all of her. It's not just the woman that you were praying for, like, oh, let her be sweet and let her be cute and let her be wise and let her be mature and this, that, and the third. No, you also got to deal with her brokenness. Yeah. You also got to deal with past traumas. You also got to deal with the fact that she's not 100% healed, right? And I'm not saying go and marry someone that's, you know, I don't know, someone that's not whole, right? Because being whole and being 100% healed, I think, are two different things. And that's a whole different conversation. But there's a dark side to every blessing. You want a house? Well, here you go. Here's the house. And now you have to deal with everything that comes with the house. Leaky roofs, leaky faucets, friggin' broken tile everywhere, whatever it might be. Now you got to deal with that, you know? So I think we need to always take into account whatever we're asking for. I think it's important to take into account what comes with what you're asking for.
Yeah. The great prophet Uncle Ben from Spider-Man, the original one, he says,
shout out Uncle Ben, dog.
With great power comes great responsibility. Yeah. And I'm sure there's biblical backing to that somewhere, but because maybe not an exact verse, but there are examples, you know, like I think of King David, You know,
Yeah.
he becomes king. He gets all this influence and power. He has an assignment. He has authority. He has an anointing. And in one moment, he was in the wrong time at the wrong place, staring at someone who he shouldn't have been there in the first place. And it cost him to lose a son, lose a child. It cost him
To lose a friend
because
he murdered.
Correct. It caused him agony, shame, all that stuff. And so, yes, there is I like the wording of a shadow, right? Because it's just that. It's a sense of, it's a weight, it's a responsibility that comes with a blessing.
Yeah.
So be careful what you pray for. Be careful what you ask for. And sometimes God will not give you what you're asking for because you're not ready to handle what comes with it. You're not ready. You're not ready. If God gave you $1 million today, I mean, we say it all the time, frankly, like, we're like, man, if God gave us 1 million subs today, if we got everything we ever dreamed for,
what would we do?
Are we ready for that?
Yeah.
Are we, Lord, is our heart pure enough? Are we humble enough that we won't be like, yeah, we did that thing, you know, yeah, forget about it.
Correct.
Are we ready, Lord?
Yeah.
And that's our prayer always, Lord. You bless this, you breathe on this if you want to. This is your podcast at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But are we ready? I think people get frustrated, like, Lord, but I want this and this and this and that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we look at other people's success and we see the mountaintops, but we don't know the years of the valleys that they went through to get there. Oh my God.
Not only
right?
that, but I think we focus so much on the mountaintop. People forget about the climb.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're going through on that mountainside.
Yeah.
You don't know the avalanches they had to avoid, the landslides, the times that they had to sleep in a cave on the side of the mountain because they're waiting for something to pass. Yeah. Like there's trials even outside of the valley.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Philip Anthony Mitchell, he says it, right? He's 2819, one of the biggest churches right now.
Shout out Pastor
in America.
Philip, come on the show.
He was leading Victory Church for I think 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
10 years. Nobody knew him.
In obscurity.
Nobody knew his name. Changes the direction of his church, new vision, new name, blows up, right?
Yeah.
God breathed on it.
Wait, hold on. Before you continue, he did admit that in those 10 years, his desire was to grow in influence. His desire was to go viral. He wanted the influence. He wanted the Instagram. Like he was obsessed. He said it on Pastor Rich Wilkerson's podcast. He was like, man, I would obsess over the numbers. And for 10 years, no one knew who I was, you know? And now that I've fully surrendered to the Lord, you know, he always says that he wrings everything out of his heart.
Yeah.
You know, in his prayer closet, he always wrings the sins out of his heart. He wrings the dirty desires, right? The unclean things. Now is when God can trust him with the influence. Because, I mean, this guy, he's leading a whole revival at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah. And it's no joke what he's leading. I mean, we had the privilege and honor of having him at Courageous a couple weeks ago. And the anointing that man carries is insane. So much more that I could say about that, and maybe we'll discuss on another podcast how that night went. But yeah, man, the anointing, blessing, favor comes with a responsibility.
Yeah,
100%.
God doesn't just give that to anybody, and if He does, be careful with it, guard it. Right? It's like God has entrusted you with this, and at the end of the day, what God gives, God can take away.
Oh,
so
the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away.
Man, that's why, like, you know, again, man, I don't know what the Lord is going to do through this podcast. And Renee always says it, and he counterbalances me because I'm like, Lord, I want to hit the 1 million subscribers because I want to do this and this and that. And really my heart is not, I don't care about the money. I don't care about being a millionaire. I don't care about the fame. Mm-hmm. I would just want to do this for a living where we're all comfortable and we live our dream and we do this together. Right. That's my heart. But then Renee always says wisely, he's like, dude, if we reach 100 people, that's it. To God be the glory. If 100 people hear us forever, we did it. We do this for the
100 people don't even fit in this room that we're in.
Yeah.
Right.
So imagine that.
Yeah. And sometimes, again, we get lost in the numbers and the comparison. Oh, my goodness. The comparison is the biggest thing, dude. Especially nowadays in social media.
Yeah.
Comparing yourself to things. And I struggle with that sometimes. Like, Lord, why?
Same.
Why is this person doing this when I've done this, when I've gone through that? And why is this person drive that car? Why am I driving this car? Why this? Why that? Why this? And man, comparison is
it's a thief of joy.
Yeah, man. It really is.
Well, it's always unique to me. It's the idea. this is what God wants for us.
Yeah.
But I think in that comparison, it's like, all right, but God, then it has to, if this is what you want, but it has to look like X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, there's a clear road full of possibilities that we can't see to the T, but it's designed for us to, just walk past it and continue it. It's not going to look like how it looks for George Janko. Shout out, George.
Come on the show.
But at the end of the day, it's like we're still putting in the work. We've been consistent.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I like compared, not to say anything bad about George, but it's like, man, how often do you can say you have your brothers? Like if this is our job, that I get to go to work with my brothers that I love and I do life with, not just on the camera, but behind the camera.
Right.
And we get to do the things that we love.
Yeah, that's the dream, man.
Like, amazing.
He gets to do that with his wife, right? You see him, you see his joy. He's just traveling the world with his wife, with his friend, and just like recording podcasts, creating content. So we might get there, man, one day. But again, with everything comes a weight of responsibility.
Right.
Now, I do think today we also talked about just having brothers around and accountability and holding each other up. And I do think one thing I am grateful for is that if God ever decides to breathe on this podcast and give it just a bit of influence outside of our immediate sphere of influence, right?
Right.
If God blesses us with that, I think the accountability that we have here is enough to be like, hey, bro, like chill. You've been a little too prideful lately. Like, why are you flashing this or whatever? Why are you talking? Why are you changing the way you talk? Why are you changing the way you behave or how you treat people? Right.
Sandra, why are you tripping?
I don't know, bro. But yeah, dude. I don't know why this turned into a conversation about the pod, but today was great.
See, the plans that we have at the end of the day, God does whatever he wants.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I actually did want to mention. Pastor Matt said, this is the last thing he said. One of the last things he said, he was like, we don't need more hype men. We need healthy men. And I think it's kind of to segue off of what we just talked about, right? Like, sure, yeah. Do we want influence? Yeah, for the right reasons, right? Like we want to reach more men. We want to reach more people. We want to do our best to disciple people through the podcast airways and do the thing that we love. But we will never get there if none of us had ever done our work. This wouldn't even be where it's at now if we wouldn't have done our work to get healthy, to heal from the things of our past. And I love that he said that, because in a world where it's so easy to go viral. I mean, we're talking about Wesley Huff, right? We were like, man, one interview changed that guy's life, and now he's one of the most sought after Christian
apologists.
Exactly. Now all these secular podcasts are calling on him. Joe Rogan, Flagrant. I mean, that's crazy. That these secular podcasts have been calling on him to come and do an interview. So is that, our desire? Of course. We hope that one day we get called for an interview, with someone who has, influence, or that, one of our stuff. I'm careful to say viral.
Yeah.
Because I did read something the other day that said going viral, when it comes to like podcasts and brands and stuff like that, like going viral is the worst thing for your brand, because then you have to sustain that.
That's true.
You get me? So that's another thing I've always mentioned. It's like, we want the 1 million subscribers, we want to go viral, right? But it's like, but then we have to sustain that virality with everything that we post, and that'll get draining real fast. That'll get exhausting real fast, because we're not going to be batting 1,000 every single time. Not every clip that we put out people are going to love. Look at Tim Ross. Every once in a while he'll get a clip that pops off, and then there's others that he has to take down, because he said it. He's like, I've had to take it down because,
That's good, man. And I mean, again, like going viral, for example, like, not that we're praying for virality. That's not our prayer. Our prayer is just, Lord, if it's your will, give us influence to reach more men, to disciple more men.
Yeah.
But with that comes the shadows. And for me, a big one that I think, for me personally, why the Lord, something that the Lord I think is working in me, and it might be my fault why we haven't reached a lot of people. Maybe the Lord's still working something in me, because I'm terrible with criticism, dude. If someone puts someone leaves a comment like, "This guy's whack," I'm like, I'm like,
we've gotten gay. I'm like,
yeah,
bro.
we have, and yeah, dude, I just take that to heart, and I'm like, oh, am I whack? Am I this like? I don't know.
Am I gay?
No, I didn't question that one. I didn't question that one, but yeah, dude, I'm really hard on myself.
Yeah.
And so when someone leaves a comment like that, and that's just something in my identity that the Lord needs to work on, like, and until my identity in Him is enough, nothing else will be. So that's something that the Lord is still working in me, right? And being in ministry, you might preach something that someone doesn't like, or you might lead in a certain way that someone doesn't agree with, and so I think that's something that the Lord works in me, is still working in me. You know, are you ready for the hate comments? Like, and I don't know. I really don't know. Now, I think it's easier to sustain these things when you're in community, when you're with your brothers.
Well, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that being said, I'll share, like, well, Renee was there and he heard it. Like, a word was shared over me in the season of life that I'm in. And basically, I think this is a perfect way to apply right now. It's right now we're shepherding. We're shepherding what God has given us. Something that was said, it was like the kingdom doesn't need more, what was it, entertainers?
Oh, yeah. The kingdom doesn't need more performers. The kingdom needs more shepherds. Shout out Pastor Dave Gilpin. Dude, that, I was like, yo, that is a mic drop. But go.
No. So it's to that point. It's like, if God's entrusting us with the little, how we steward the little will show how we will steward,
100%, dude. And that's biblical. Right? It's biblical, dude. If I can trust you with a little, more will be trusted to you. If I can't, then it's like a kid, right? It's like, man, if I can give you this crappy little plastic toy and you take care of it, all right, I'll buy you the more expensive one.
Yeah.
But if this one, you grab it in your hands, you immediately smash it and it breaks, I'm not going to get you the one that cost me $200.
For sure. Something to your point that you just said a little earlier was about the $1 million. There's one that I like to say, it's like, man, if I give you a keys to a Ferrari, but your death is co-signed with it, would you take the Ferrari?
No.
That's right.
Exactly, man.
Because why do you want that blessing if it's going to lead you to death?
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's the thing about us and influence, right? It's like the cost of the blessing of influence comes with the shadow of we lose our anonymity. You know, Tim Ross says it all the time. He's like, I can't walk through an airport sometimes without being noticed, you know? And I remember he said a story once that he had just gotten back to Texas, back home. And I think it was that, you know, his flight got delayed. He was having a bad day.
Yeah.
And, you know, his team came to pick him up. One of his producers with his assistant went to go pick him up. And someone in the airport, I kind of like cussed at one of his producers, like, yo, get the F out the way. Because, you know, airports are super busy. And Tim Ross said that he almost popped off on the guy because, you know, he was already like having a crappy day.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, if it wasn't for the Holy Spirit and because I have my team with me, I probably would have lost my salvation in that moment. Because he's like, don't ever, you know, I don't like the way he talked to you. You're part of my team. I am your leader. You know, and I'll be damned if I see you get disrespected on my watch.
Of course.
You know, so, and it's like, man, he doesn't have a private life like that anymore, where he can pop off and no one will be like, hey, but aren't you the guy from the podcast that's always talking about Jesus?
TMZ.
Right, exactly. Like that wouldn't happen if he didn't have the influence that he does. But since he does, it's like everything gets recorded, dude. Everything gets jotted down. Everybody notices. And it's like, you just got to be careful, man.
I'm just having like a picture, like in that same process. It's like, man, you're out with your wife at dinner and you're trying to have this nice time with her. And then people are like, hey, Alessandro, can I have your autograph? I love you in the podcast.
Right.
It's like you don't want to say no, but it's like, dude, you're kind of interfering with what I'm trying to, you know, do with my wife.
That's what celebrities go through, though. But that's what celebrities sign up for. Right. So again, influence is great and you can use it greatly, but you lose privacy.
Bro, and it doesn't even need to get that far, like before you even, that's why it's so important to, when we talk about stewarding the little, like being faithful where we're at now, even right now, like we gotta be careful, even in our immediate sphere of influence. Like,
because guys watch what we do,
dude. Right. Even today, for example, I hadn't been to Sozo in like a year, and obviously everybody knows about the podcast because there's more guys that go to Sozo. So I'm with Renee, and we sit in a small group, and some guy I've never met, he's like, "Oh, I've seen you on social media through the podcast." I'm like, "Oh, awesome, man. Thank you for watching. Nice to meet you. I'm Alessandro." Imagine if I would have been like, "Bro, I'm effing pissed right now," like, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or dude, or said something.
Just because you don't go to our church anymore, right? Like you feel comfortable.
That guy has seen me talk about the Lord, and what impression does that?
And
give?
same thing when we go to Courageous. How many guys go? Oh man, I see you guys on the clip.
Yes,
yo.
exactly. Yeah, all my friends at Courageous. Imagine like Renee shows up with a face, or Ricky shows up, and whatever. I don't know. We have to carry ourselves, and that's not just because we're on a podcast. Believers need to carry themselves at a higher standard.
We're leaders at the end of the day. Yeah. Outside of forget the podcast.
Yeah.
We're all leaders.
Yeah.
Right. We all lead at our church. We're all leaders in our home. And it's like, dude, we at the end of the day, we represent Christ.
Exactly.
So every move that we make is calculated.
Absolutely.
Right? And Joan, shout out Joan, he brought this up the other day when me and Iris had dinner with him and his wife. He said that it's sad that in the secular, right, when you mess up as a Christian, they're quick to point out, aren't you a Christian?
Yeah.
So why are you acting that way? You know? And I've gone through that, you know, in my previous job. I remember, you know, leadership in my previous job, I acted out and I got upset and I reacted emotionally. The first thing that they told me, I was like, aren't you Christian? So why are you acting this way? And yes, we are Christians and we're human. We don't claim to be perfect. The only one that was perfect died on a cross 2,000 years ago. He rose again, and we're waiting on the guy to come back.
Yeah.
So, you know.
But not everyone's going to give you the same grace.
But not everyone's going to give us this exactly. And that's what, you know, John was saying is like, it's sad because oftentimes they do that because it's trying to justify them. Like they're trying to justify their actions and how they feel and how they act and their thought processes. So the way that they justify that is by, you know, vilifying. Yeah. There you go. Vilifying you and making you out to be like, oh, you claim you're a Christian, but, you know, you just cussed. Or you claim you're a Christian, but you just treated this person poorly. You know? So, yeah.
Yeah, so good.
That's good.
We can start wrapping it up.
We can leave it there.
We gotta get you to the airport, dog.
Get me to the airport, fly back. But yeah, I think that's it. I hope it was a good conversation.
Yeah.
Went a little bit over than we thought, but I hope it was edifying. I hope it blessed you guys. Again, guys, we always ask you to leave a comment, share with people, subscribe, like it.
Yeah. And
not only let us know in the comments what you liked about the podcast, give us other questions. We sometimes create content based on the questions you leave for us. So if you have a question or anything like that, please shoot us a DM, leave a comment on the YouTube. If you want to come on the pod to do a live discipleship, I'm going to go on I don't know. I'm just going to say it. Yeah. We'll have you live on the podcast. Yeah, we'll do live discipleship. There's a show that I've been watching a lot. This guy called Caleb Hammer. He does financial stuff. He'll have people come on a show, and he's not. I don't know if he's Christian, but the way he talks certainly doesn't look like that. But he'll have people, and they'll talk about their finances, and he's just criticizing them and trying to help them at the same time, but very vulgar. We'll do something like that. We won't cuss you out or anything like that, but we want to help you. So if anybody ever is like, man, I'm going through a season in life, I would love to hear from some men.
You just got to be comfortable sharing your business on camera.
True. But if you feel comfortable with that, we'd love to have you on. Or if you want to remain anonymous, please shoot us a DM or leave a comment. But again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. We hope it blessed you. And until next time, peace.
Peace.